Hello and welcome to Green Angle, where we examine environmental issues and proffer sustainable solutions. I am Esther Mokwariola. On this episode of the show, extreme weather events and other climatic conditions have been ravaging the planet these past few weeks. We examine these happenings and measures to take to adapt to this new reality. Also ahead, a young graduate carves a niche for himself, converting trash to treasure. As the Earth's global temperature continues to get warmer, we're more likely to experience widespread changes in weather patterns. Recent scientific studies have shown that extreme weather events such as heat wave, large storms are likely to become more intense with human-induced climate change. Scientists have long warned that climate change will lead to more extreme weather. In recent times, there have been reports of devastating floods in Europe, wildfires in Siberia, while the United States and Canada have been experiencing an unprecedented level of heat wave. In Romania, hundreds of houses have been damaged, some of them completely swept away by floods, and roads have been destroyed, isolating communities. In Germany, more than 3,000 volunteers are in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia with aid, food and cleanup equipment supplied by the government. This comes after the country experienced the worst flooding disaster in years, with hundreds more killed. Angela Merkel's government says it will allocate 200 million euros in aid to the flood-ravaged regions.
It all happened in 2 hours. The level of the water was so high that this big rock washed away by the flood broke the door of my house into 2 pieces. Soon after this, the first floor was flooded. My daughter-in-law's clothing shop, which was on the first floor, was ruined by the floods. My studio was destroyed as well. I was not able to save anything. I threw away all the equipment. The people you see around here do help us. 2 of them, they are all volunteers. This is a great assistance they give.
Our first priority was to save the lives of the people. This is what we all thought about in the beginning. Now we have reached the stage in which we provide the basic needs such as food, drinking water, and clean equipment. These 2 items are most needed now. We will have to organize the work of the volunteers because we will need them for the long term. For now, we are in urgent need of financial assistance. Elsewhere, recent wildfires in Siberia raised major global concerns over the threat posed to permafrost. The thawing of permafrost in Russia's Arctic, whether that's because of fires or the warming planet, could have major consequences for the climate. Permafrost, permanently frozen soil, lies beneath nearly a quarter of the northern hemisphere's landmass, and around 65% of Russian land sits on it. But temperatures in Russia are heating up 2.5 times faster than the rest of the world. And as permafrost thaws, greenhouse gases are released, causing further warming and melting the permafrost more quickly. Back here in Nigeria, Lagos, the commercial city, had reported incidents of floods which ravaged the metropolis. Most homes had their rooms flooded, while in some areas it was an unbelievable sight. These extreme weather events, experts say, is becoming our new reality.
As long as this warming persists and continues, we should be ready for this type of events to take place in many parts of the world. I will not be surprised if one time in the next few years it starts to rain even in the Sahara Desert sometimes. So we should be ready for this to take place. It's due to global warming effect that we're all talking about and for which the world has agreed as far back as 2015 that a lot must be done to reduce as much as possible the human influence of generating so much of these greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which is being accused of being responsible for trapping a lot of the heat that comes from the sun and will not allow this heat to escape back to the atmosphere and thereby keeping the earth warmer than normal. Apart from the fact that we didn't plan a lot of these things in anticipation of what is happening now, to try to correct some of the mistakes of the past now is becoming extremely difficult. Let's give an example of our own local conditions here. I do not really see what Lagos State government can do now to keep Lekki, Axis, Victoria Island, Ikoyi, and Lagos Island totally free from these persistent floods, which we are expecting to occur over and over. Because we have developed the places, we have developed them. You cannot move any people around as such. When the governor of Ogun State went around in Abeokuta, and people along the floodplains told him point blank that there's nowhere they can go. So more or less they have to face the consequences. But government will not be looking at people to be swept away. So government will have to find a way by which, even if they have nowhere to go, government may have to develop the settlement plan. So in that respect, we are in real trouble. And because our limited resources, we continue to make it very difficult for us to cope with what is happening. Can you imagine a country like Germany, a country like Netherlands, Belgium, that are, in particular Netherlands, that have been used to living in areas of below sea level, complaining this time? So that shows the magnitude of the warming effect of on these extreme events that we are going to witness. And Nigeria, particularly the low-lying areas along the coast, and many of even the floodplains along the main rivers of Nigeria, must be ready now to really accept that these events, particularly in the months of July and part of August, will become like normal. We call them extreme now, but they are tending towards the normal situation, which means the climate is trying to change its state from fairly easy spread of rainfall to a more concentrated form of rainfall over a very short period of time that will be resulting in massive flood. So we are really incapacitated, but I hope that the government will be able to take this thing more seriously and see what we can do. Not that we can stop it, but what can we do to minimize the impact of this regular extreme events now. It's no longer regular extreme events from carrying our people away.
Scientists had warned that global temperatures could reach 3 degrees this century, above Liverpool temperature of 1.5 degrees due to carbon emissions from fossil fuels. This perhaps is a pointer to the fact that government and societies need to heed to these warnings and explore other alternatives to preserve and protect this planet.
The options are very clear. We need to really find a way by which a lot of more of our hydropower, which is very clean, is increased, as well as the other renewable sources like solar are being utilized, at least to a maximum, even if it's in the area of cooking, in the area of household use, so that we can leave the major companies to use some of those energy that are coming from other sources. Thereby, we can increase the productivity of the system and at the same time reduce, may not be too much for now, reduce gradually the amount of carbon emission that we are going. Government has to move seriously. And I want to say it clearly, I don't know why the political reluctance. The subsidy on petroleum resources, PMS, should be removed. Majority of the people that we are thinking that will be affected are not benefiting from this. If we remove that one, And myself, as a retired professor, finds it difficult to take my car and fill it up the tank and go to the village alone. I will think twice. I will look at the way by which I will charter a taxi, or make sure that when I'm going to the village, we're a minimum of 4 at least, so that the amount of fuel per person and amount of cost per person will still be minimal. Those are the until government is serious about this. Nigerians will just continue to utilize these resources, in a very wasteful manner, and then we'll be servicing other countries that should not be so. Two other things we can do is to create some microcredit systems that can be used to encourage people into adapting or accepting renewable energy sources, like for instance, this solar. I have a colleague that is already doing that one in Lagos. Most of the salons and barber shops are being supported through microcredit scheme to try and put together to change their generator to solar, and they pay gradually back to the system. So even if you are able to do that for a lot of households, a lot of these shops here and there, you have removed a lot of the energy need to use the fossil fuel for generation.
In the meantime, Lagos State government says it has successfully desilted some major drainage channels which were filled with waste to ensure a flood-free metropolis. The state's Ministry of Environment also asked residents to desist from indiscriminate disposal of waste and revealed plans to engage communities to ensure proper maintenance of drainage channels.
It's another rainy season. And for a coastal city like Lagos, which is usually prone to flooding, drainage channels and waterways are oftentimes clogged with plastic waste and other non-biodegradables. As part of efforts to reduce the incidence of flooding in the metropolis, the Lagos State Ministry of the Environment says it has successfully removed waste from major drainage channels in the state. Speaking with newsmen after an inspection tour of the major primary channels in Idiaraba and Surulere, Director, Drainage Maintenance, Olalekon Ajani, revealed that most of the major primary channels weren't functional and accessible because of the high volume of refuse which covered all the drains due to neglect.
Anytime it rains, you now see people dumping their refuse. It's not the heat that is actually causing flooding in this canal. It is the floatables, the refuse. So we need to change our attitude. And beyond that, for us, we want water to be flowing. And that's why we are saying we have gangs, what we call emergency flood abatement gang. When it rains like this, they come out, and all these flooding that can block anywhere, they remove so that water can flow.
Some of the residents share their thoughts on this development.
Somebody before, if there's rain, all these houses you see around here, flood there with water. The canal, all these useless dirty things will come out. We boys in the area, we don't gather ourselves, we pack everything, we come out with our own money. But we thank God that says they'll be packing it now. There's a change, but they should continue with it. If they should stop it, the problem will still come back.
We took an appropriate step to see that the cleaning of the drainage is being maintained and supervised. As I'm talking to you, I was just coming from there. We employ community policy to watch day and night so that people will not use that opportunity by dumping more refuse there.
In the meantime, the state government is appealing to residents to ensure proper cleanup of their drainage channels, even as it is working towards a flood-free metropolis.
Green Angle returns after this break. Stay with us. Flip-flops are common footwears made of rubber or plastic with a thong between the big toe and the second toe. They are not biodegradable like natural rubber, but recycled rubber flip-flops make much better use of the 1.5 billion tires thrown away every year or left to rot in landfills. Ebipade Komboye is making a positive difference, converting old and used flip-flops into art pieces that will stand the test of time.
Abeokuta, capital city of Ogun State. We are here to meet a young graduate of arts from Auchi Polytechnic, Edo State, Ebipade Komboye, who has carved a niche for himself, converting old and used flip-flops into creative works of art. Ebipade's love for this style of mosaic art began from his university days, and in 2019, he decided to take it up as a profession. Ebipade sources for his own materials, washes, disinfects, cuts them to bits, then separates the various colors of flip-flops into plastic containers before they are joined together to form a masterpiece. With an eye for detail, ensuring every piece captures the beauty of art he creates, most of his works take him about 2 to 3 months to complete. He believes his style of art will reduce the amount of non-degradable waste in the environment and promote sustainable solutions.
My name is Komboye Ebipade Eugene. I'm a native of Brutu local government area and Obuja Southwest. I started drawing at a very tender age, and even after I finished secondary school, I was about going for my degree. Nobody actually discouraged me. They were all in support of my decision. I trained at Auchi Polytechnic as a painter, and ever after graduation, I've been a full-time studio practitioner, recycling flip-flops into mosaic. The material is not something I can take credit for. Even it has been in the school system. Many people have used it over time. So, but many immediately after it was given as an assignment most times. So immediately after assignment, people will just forget about it. But personally, I think there's something that just resonates with sticking things one after the other. And the moment I got the material, it's just click. Before the material, I've worked with collage, cutting papers into tiny bits to create art. I've worked with grains of rice, I colored them, and I've worked with buttons. So having this one, it was just like a door that was just opened for me. Minimally, for the smaller size of work I've done, I've spent up to 5 weeks. And for those ones that are behind me, some of them are up to 2 months. I have to rearrange, and all the process is just there. So let's just say roughly 2-3 months for like this one that I have behind me. Before I start working, it's part of planning. I have to select the family of colors I'm using. So what I have there is a palette. I created different colors. Those colors, they are actually not just for the color, but I'm also looking out for their tones, their tonal value, their shades, and this is what helped me build my work. After getting my material, I have to wash them. I wash them. After washing them, I cut them into different colors, different tones, different shades, and arrange them. So in that way, it makes my work a little bit easier because I will know when I have my picture, I have what I'm working on, I know the shade, the tone, and the values. For art, it's not like, oh, because someone is recycling or because someone is drawing with pencil, I should do it. It doesn't work that way. It has to be an inbuilt something, because it's a kind of, it's easy for me to do this, you know, but it will be very difficult for someone else. You know, the simplest thing you will see as an artwork will be very difficult for someone else. So it has to be inbuilt. You know, for people that do recycling, it's not, they don't just do recycling because there is a need for recycling. They do recycling because it's part of them, because they have this spirit for it. You know, so I can't really tell anybody to go into recycling if it's not in them, because it's like they will just ruin their career. You know, so just in art, you do what works for you. You have to figure out your strengths. What is your strength? So that is, I think every young artist and everybody that's aspiring to be an artist should just focus on what seems to be their strength and develop it. I didn't start this today. I started doing collage right from secondary school. So you see, even when I went to Auchi Polytechnic for my national diploma, it's actually among all the assignments I was given then, the one that have to do with this arrangement of material, was like the one that interests me more. That is because it's part of me. So, and I graduated, I'm doing this. I care about my environment because this stuff, they affect the environment, and I am part of the environment. So if the environment is harmful, definitely I'll be the victim. That difference is what I actually wanted. I wanted something to give me an identity. So when I was introduced to it, I saw it as a golden opportunity. Then I stretched it out to my environment by picking up the Dunlops, the flip-flops and all that around my environment. Yeah. After graduating from Auchi Polytechnic, I was posted here for my youth service. So I served here, and during my service I was offered this field because I saw the need that I have need for it. So they accepted that I should be using it, and even after my service, I think they saw how I don't know, maybe it's my level of commitment maybe, so they offered me the space to be working. Life is in stages. You know, so I get to the apex of this building, there's no more ladder to climb. So I really don't want to go through the elevator. I want to go through the stairs. I just want to enjoy the process and see how I grow. So I just want to let the process speak.
No fewer than 8 countries across Africa gathered in Nigeria to discuss best ways to achieve 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, along with critical components that can mitigate the global challenges faced by mankind.
The polluters are outside Africa, but the endangered species are African continent. African continent is one of the continents that has a lot of problem with the consequences of these pollutions. And so Africa tries to tell the world that, hey, you need to contribute to mitigating the effect of greenhouse gas emissions. The youth must know that this is a big problem, because in our own little ways, we can mitigate the issues of climate change by reducing greenhouse emission.
And that's our show for today. Until I come your way next time, remember, together we can build a sustainable world. I am Esther Makwariola. Bye for now.